Toy Frenzy. What? That's
What
weird.
was that? Oh my gosh.
All right, the first person that can guess to who that was, write it in the chat and we'll see.
See if they
there were actually
figure it out.
two voices that chimed in there. One was a little louder than the other one, but there were two voices chiming in. So
that's funny.
It's just a little like the ocean's a little wet.
Yeah.
Well, guys, this is episode 72.
Wow.
What? No way.
How did we get to 72?
How the hell did we get there? I don't know. I don't know how we did it, but we did it. I'm hoping to get to 72 one of these days.
Yeah, me too. I just don't want it to come too quickly.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's let it come slowly.
Yeah.
I got
no need to rush that portion. Come on.
No.
That's frightening. 22 years.
I think. I keep thinking, like, you know how when you're a kid, like time seems to go way more slowly. I'm thinking it's boredom. You have to find a way to have less to do, and no screens. And I'm wondering if like life would suddenly go slow again.
Maybe.
Yeah, no screens, people.
Yeah, because summer vacations, you know, they would seem like it lasted a whole year.
Yeah.
Back when you're
like
a year would be like
a long time.
It was a long time since last Christmas. You know, now it's like, holy shit, it's been 5 Christmases already.
Right.
Yeah,
like even this past year, I'm like, I still feel like I'm playing catch up. Right. Like I feel like September just rolled around.
Yeah,
the holidays are done, and we're halfway through freaking January already.
Yeah, I remember when Halloween month came around. That's what I call October, but it's just yeah, it's gone by quick.
Well, it's Happy Thursday. Happy
Thursday.
Celebration of Toy Frenzy. Happy Thursday, folks. I'm gonna start saying that. Happy Thursday.
Friday.
You know what that means? That means tomorrow's Friday.
That's right.
And that's really awesome. I'm stoked about that.
Right? Well, you
got you off on Friday?
No.
Oh,
I'm just happy to be closer to the weekend.
Oh, okay.
And I like Fridays. I like Fridays.
I don't know. Fridays could be good. Sometimes they could be real busy for me. It's just like the industry I'm in. It's just it gets weird. Mondays are the days that are slow.
Oh.
Yeah, because everybody's going back and they're checking out everything, and we're getting started, and you know, then Friday sometimes it can be a madman. It's just crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of my.
Oh, go ahead, Sally.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that's kind of how every day is for me. At my job, it's like the way you explained your week. It's the mornings start off slow, and then by the end of the day, everybody has something to say. Every email has to come in like at 4 to 5, and it's like, really, like this is where we should be tapering things off, people.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
what are you gonna do?
Just don't look at your email. Wait till the morning.
Start ignoring it.
Yeah, choose to not.
You should do that. You should like skip that one evening, like late in the afternoon, whatever. And read those emails in the morning, so your morning is busy, and then you get slow at the end of the day instead of vice versa.
I think you just take the darn good idea.
Skelly's Skelly's gonna have a new folder in his email account. Tomorrow's bullshit. Every email from 4 to 5. Tomorrow's bullshit.
He's gonna put a post-it note on his glasses so he can remember.
I do. Why does he keep walking into the wall?
Just read his damn post-its. But yeah, I put this up here. Speaking Moistly was saying he has Bobby advice. There we go. There you go. New segment of the show. This is Bobby's advice. Number 1 Bobby advice: get the fuck off my lawn.
That's right. You better listen. Damn grass.
It's my damn grass.
Get off the grass. You little weasels.
This up here is Lita Speaking Moistly saying, happy Thursday. Have tomorrow off. And yesterday was a snow day. What a great week. That is a pretty damn good week. I know a lot of people have been getting hit with some weather this week. Like we had some earlier this week that came in. and actually turned into, honestly, the way snow's been around here lately, I just kind of thought like it wasn't going to do anything, kind of how it has been. So like I got all excited when the first little dusting showed up. I was like, holy shit, that's more snow than we've had in 2 years.
Jeez.
Like next thing we know, we got 4 inches. And I was like, oh, we weren't quite expecting that much. Now apparently we got another 4 inches tomorrow. So speaking of busy weeks, anytime there's bad weather coming, we get slammed because everybody's like, go ahead and just cancel my appointment, but I want you to find me one next week. Like, look, buddy, next week was filled up a month ago. You're gonna have to get to the you're not going to get until like March. It'll be better.
That's what sucks with that shit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, here's some big news.
Well, let's see. Oh no, Thanos, that's
man.
Well, the good thing is, was he a shit boss or is he a good boss?
Yeah, like was the guy a jerk?
Yeah.
See, my boss, I've known forever, so it's awesome to have him as my boss. But there's a lot of people that I've had supervisors that's been complete shit.
Oh yeah,
I just can't stand them.
I've had,
and when they leave,
like, how did you even get there? Like, how did you get this job?
When they leave and they're a good boss, that can be a real shit show.
Yeah.
That's always the roughest, right?
Oh yes, that sucks, Thanos.
Yeah.
Oh man!
Wow, that's crazy.
Retirement, I guess, or no?
Hopefully, yeah.
Right now, I gotta say, I've got one of the best bosses. All the supervisors at my work right now are like really amazing, which is great. I love having a solid team. It was like that at PayPal too. I had a lot of really good supervisors there. And
he's saying that because he knows they watch us here.
No, only the one actually watches the show. And honestly,
because now he's going to spread it out. Hey, I was just telling him that.
Yeah, he's talking us up. He was saying how great we are. Well, where's my raise? They got to show up at my door with a stepladder. I'm pissed.
Here's your raise, pal.
Yep. You want to dive in and say hello to everybody in the chat? I've been starting.
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, I'm just going to try to, if I run through this one fast, it's going to be pretty quick. But here we go. Let's roll. We got Speaking Moistly, Ace is hanging out, Buddy's Customs is here, Thanos Copter, of course, Joe Gonzalez. We got Duchess of Darkness here, JMax77, Ronald Embry in the house, K-Row, Kenny, Kenzo's Creations here with us, John, figuratively speaking, we've got All Music Fan and the officiality of being a Toy Tube channel, Nolan is here. Good to see everybody tonight. Right. If I missed you all, I'm going to try to run back through the chat and grab you.
We got one right here. Always. Jason Mining.
Hey, there we go. Jason Mining. What is up? Glad to have you, brother.
Welcome to it.
Yeah.
Happy Thursday. You know what I always like about Thursday, right? Thursday, it's shit. Shit day. Sure, happy it's Thursday.
I get it.
Sure.
It works.
Oh, sure. Happy it's Thursday.
Sure,
I get it.
Happy it's Thursday. Shit.
I had to see it in my head.
Did you do the calculus?
Yeah, forget that TGIF. I like saying shit Thursday. Sure, happy it's Thursday.
We got Eternian Ellipse here. Great to see you.
Sir Clifton, great to have you in the chat, brother. Good to see you. John's sitting there rallying the crowd. We've got 20 in the chat. However, we've only got 8 likes. Let's hit that like button, people. Come on.
No one likes us anymore.
All right.
Oh, that ain't true.
Nobody likes us.
I just saw that one. Just saw that. You sure this is her house? Yeah. Are you dead? No. Nobody likes us.
So put this up here. Bill Murray Ghostbusters. Well, I guess I'll see you Thursday. And I was actually watching Ghostbusters before we were going live tonight. It was on one of the TV channels. We got the new Ghostbusters movie on the rise. A lot of new cool toys coming out with it. Ghostbusters has probably got to be one of the most quotable movies of all time, hands down.
Yeah.
I've yelled "Mother Puss Bucket." Of course, you got popular. It's so popular of a line that there's a podcast. Yes, have some. Yes, have some podcasts that create toy anxiety. Like,
Yeah.
You know,
My friend used to say it all the time. We used to go to a diner, like 1992, it was like all night diner in Chicago. And the
Yes,
waitress would come up and she like, you want some coffee? He's like, yes, have some. He would say that, it was just natural.
Yeah.
Right.
She'd look at him like he was weird because the way he's phrased it. Yes, have some,
Yes, like what?
Like what?
Speaking of Ghostbusters, this last weekend I was at Target with the family and I ran into some of the new figures. And
some of these guys got a bunch of them.
Oh, you got that? That's cool.
Well, this I got a while ago, not the new one. New one.
I have not seen the butt cheek Slimer yet. I'm looking. I'm really excited to find that. But I do have to say I am really not that impressed by the figures.
Really?
I like the little squishy ghosts, but yeah, that's awesome. Like I would rather just get that. I feel like if I were to buy that, I'd be buying it for the squishy ghosts. The figures are just kind of like.
Well, I mean, they're done in the old Kenner's Real Ghostbuster style, so they're only 5 POA. Face sculpts are okay. This guy is so motionless; he has no soul.
Mm-hmm.
No soul.
He is in real life too, right?
But I will say the companion ghosts. They are really, really fun. They kind of open up in the back because you're supposed to do this ecto stretch tech to stretch them over the figures. Now on the packaging, I gotta say this is a little. This is a big disappointment to me, right? Because like one of the big things is that you're supposed to be able to stretch it over the figure, and it like gets to this almost translucent.
I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it.
Okay,
well, that's good. That's a relief.
Translucent.
Yeah. I'm glad it doesn't stretch over a
I was just to say it's a Ghostbuster
4 or 5 inch figure.
Pretty much.
I'll give you my.
I mean,
Slimer.
the Slimer looks great.
No, he is awesome. I love this Slimer. I think like this is my favorite companion ghost. Like he is really cool.
Then when it's finished, all you have to say is he slimed me.
He slimed me.
Oh no. Oh, shit. It gives a whole nother meaning to companion ghosts.
Like I said, I just wish they were maybe a little bit more translucent. Glow in the dark would be awesome, Just saying. I love glow.
Yeah. Bobby's had enough. He's gone. He's gone now.
This one's really cool too. Like the little skeletal one.
Yeah, the skeleton was good. He
cool.
came with the young lady, right?
Yes. Came with oh shoot, I forget her name because you got Callie, you've got Trevor. Cannot think of her name now. Oh, that's gonna bug me because I loved her in the last movie. I thought she was fantastic.
Yeah, she was good. She was good.
You know,
the last movie was awesome.
It was
I've
really
only seen
good.
the first 2 originals.
The only one that I could not find was Paul Rudd's character, Gruber, Mr. Gruber.
Yeah,
one thing
I saw him.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
And
if I go back and I see him, I'll let you know.
Please do. Yeah, because I'm trying to track down all these new ones. I'm trying to get the freight features. I kind of want that newer Ecto one that came out, but I don't really know it. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with a YouTube channel called Call Me Chris. She does like all these weird impressions and voices, and she often like will act like a little kid in some of her skits where she'll use like this little tiny doll hand on her face. It's kind of creative, pretty funny. So this does not look like the actress that plays, the actual character in the movie, Callie. But she is a dead ringer for that YouTube channel, Call Me Chris. Like I swear it looks just like her. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
What are you guys excited about? I do want to say something I'm excited about, but I want to hear what you guys are excited about in the realm of toys or masters or whatever.
Well, don't everybody go first.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go.
For somebody who's actually excited about something, so
I'm actually excited. So I did see a mouse jaw or trap mouse or whatever he is
mouse
in the wild. Yeah, in the wild. I was really not impressed in seeing it in person. That's just me. But the images that popped up of Slaker or Slacker, the Slash Faker mashup is pretty good. I've always been a fan of. I like Slash just because I don't know.
Was
he's
cool.
just such
an really
interesting character. But seeing him as Faker in the packaging, those images that popped up today, I think I'm kind of, if I see him in the wild, I think I'm actually gonna have a hard time resisting that.
Well, I mean, truthfully, you don't have to resist it. Even if you don't want the rest of the line, you can go for that guy. Why not? I mean, if it's something
I don't have to. I want to resist it. Is the problem, Oz? I want to resist it. I'm gonna have a hard time resisting it when I see it because it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. So I got a little excited about that when I saw that today. It kind of gave me the feels. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I saw the mouse jaw last weekend too when I was hunting these guys down because these are all Target exclusive for the moment. And I saw him in stores and I was like, oh, wow, that's actually really cool. It's nice to see something new Origins because lately it's been so hard to... What the heck is going on with my computer here? There we go. I clicked something weird. There we go. All good. But yeah, it was so cool actually just seeing something new Origins wise in a store because really I haven't seen too much. There was the Sunman 3-pack after I eventually got one, and then there was nothing else was really new coming out in Origins, not by me, not in any of the stores around. But Mousejaw, just seeing it in stores was like, that's really cool. I'm glad to finally see that. It's not one of the things that I'm really looking for, but I gotta agree with you that Slacker figure or whatever they're calling him, Slash again was one of my favorite Ninja Turtles too. I definitely appreciate the colors, that kind of like pinkish purple with the blue. But I will say though, like to me, it just feels like I'm getting Slash in Origins form because with a lot of the other figures, there's at least like a lot of variation, like the Ram Man actually being mutated and being purple and all like that. It's like, having Ram features. He-Man being all mutated out, right? The Ninja Turtles have like all this different armor on now. Man-at-Arms, like he's all armored out like a turtle. So like they're pretty different from like the way the core characters really look, right? And to me, Slash just looks like Slash, but now he's got a cracked carapace and there's a pizza deck, tape deck in his chest. like that's the only difference. Other than that, he just looks like a regular Slash figure. But either way, he's still pretty cool, and he would be a tough one for me to pass on myself. Like I think I might actually have to get him because I just like the way he looks.
There's some interesting qualities to these figures. They're just not calling to me. That one called to me for some reason.
It's the color scheme, I'm telling you.
I think it's the colors. The colors get me every time. I just love the Masters of the Universe colors, and when they can be put into a new setting or with a new figure, I really like that. What do you, Adam, Bobby? Anything you're interested in or excited about?
I'll do this. This is, I've shown this before. This is my little merman custom. I just I touched him up a little bit. He has classics hands, like the four fingers, which I've had him for a while on that, but I finally touched up the paint so it matches the rest of them. But I always just enjoy this kind of blue merman. Actually, kind of more based on Mark Taylor's original B sheet, just because I've got the color variation on this costume. But yeah, so I'm kind of digging that right now.
I do like that color variant. I kind of like that more blue-esque merman than just the straight green. Something about that.
Can you bring it up again, Adam? Let's blow it up.
Here you go.
Yeah, that's looking good.
I even went.
I like seeing the classics hands on there.
Yeah, that was the one thing that always bothered me. Like, man, you shouldn't have 5 fingers. You should have the 4 fingers.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I cut off the straps too and just glued the armor on to make it
Mm.
more
Yep.
like the original prototype. So
Yeah.
he's kind of a statue just because the paint he has got a lot of paint. The armor is the LOP retail armor, but I've painted over the armor, so I don't want to like move it too much to kind of make the paint rub off. But
Yeah, I
it's
don't
fun.
blame you.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's great. That's a great thing to be excited about because that's gorgeous.
Thanks.
Wow. Yeah, I saw those new.
Ace.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, I was just commenting on Ace's comment. Yeah, the Filmation Merman is really
Yeah,
one of the best
it's gorgeous.
figures.
I want to get that too.
What were you gonna say, Bobby?
I saw those new Dungeons and Dragons that Super 7 put out or are
Oh,
putting
yeah.
out, but then you see the
Yep.
price and it's just like, forget
Yeah.
it.
Right? Like, they just did those same exact figures at a more affordable price in store. And sure, some people had issues with them, but like Hasbro just had them on retail shelves recently. And
Yeah.
now it's like,
Mhm.
oh, hey, did you like that? Well, Hasbro's not doing any more with this line, so we'll give them to you now, and we're going to like double the price.
See,
y'all
and
know
that's
how I
what
feel
bugs
about
me
Yeah.
about
Super
toy
prices.
lines. You get excited, and you want them to continue so you can get all the characters you like, and then they just say, nope, they're not selling, so goodbye. You just spent all that
Yeah.
money on bullshit, for half a collection or whatever it is.
Yeah. I know a lot of people were upset more recently with some of the Power Rangers because there's like 4 or 5 Power Ranger teams that never got completed in the line.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, for that person who was like a hardcore, like, Bud's saying right here with the Michelangelo coming out in Wave 3, he's a team completionist, right? So like if there's a set of Power Rangers out there that like, you were a big fan of or whatever, and you got like 3 out of 5 Rangers, like I'd definitely be pissed off because you didn't get the whole team. I always felt it was weird when they would release their waves of the Power Ranger toys, and it would be like you'd get one from this team, one from this team, and then you'd get villains from like a completely different show or anything. And it's like, well, if people aren't buying those teams, then maybe they weren't that popular. But
Right.
still, just do like a limited run on that whole team. Don't make them, cherry pick 2 or 3 figures out of a wave, and then these other ones just sit there, and then you're like, oh, well, nobody's really buying them, so let's not do them anymore. There's a lot of people out there with unfinished teams now. That's a real shame.
Yeah, that's like when those original Dungeons and Dragons came out. What you said, Hasbro did those recently, and
Well, yeah,
I
you
thought
had
they would sell more because it seems like people have been
right,
waiting for those forever since you were kids. They never had those characters before in toys. And,
right, the
when
ones
they're all
based off
on,
the show kind of thing.
yeah, and they're all on clearance and all that stuff. It's weird.
Well, I think it was also like the breakdown of it too, right? Like I never saw like any of the first wave like really out at stores.
Hmm.
Because
I
remember, I
have,
was like really excited,
yeah.
and I was like, "Ooh, I want to pick these up." I never really saw any of like the first wave, and then the
Mm.
second wave came out, and I saw that, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, but I never saw the first wave, so I can't just go with like half the roster." And even
Right.
then, it wasn't even the full wave; it was just like 2 of the figures.
Yeah.
So I was
Are you
like,
talking about the
that's
cartoon? The
Yeah.
the
cartoon
cartoon
ones.
series?
Figures. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but plus they were really expensive. Like,
Yep.
Well, yeah, they
they
were.
were very pricey,
Yeah,
and
25 something, I think, right?
It was
like
yeah, it was
Yeah.
25 a figure, but that's a lot better than 55 though,
well,
because
yeah,
like that's
but they're
what
also
Super
smaller
7s
though. They're not real
they
big.
were.
Yeah.
They weren't nearly as big as Super 7 Ultimates.
Yeah,
was.
they're not an ultimate figure.
Right. But I mean, like that's kind of the standard price that Hasbro puts their figures out at is about 25 for that scale, like Marvel Legends and stuff. So it doesn't really surprise me that they were 25, but yeah, it would have been nicer if maybe they were a little cheaper.
But I thought the market for that would be outstanding. I thought
Yeah.
everybody was going to gobble
me
those
too.
up.
Well, I also think it didn't help that the first couple of video reviews out there, like they were
With
breaking
people
right out
breaking
of the
them,
case.
yeah.
And then everybody was like, "Whoa, never mind. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend $25 on a figure that's going to break right out of the package."
Yeah. That probably killed it.
Yeah. I know Thanos, he didn't have any problems when he got his out of the box, but quite a few other people, at least the ones that have a show and have a voice and were out there, they were like, "Oh yeah, here we
are." Yeah. So I don't know. NECA's doing them too, but they've seemed to not putting out anymore. They got like one new one.
Oh yeah, NECA canceled.
They canceled them?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know they canceled.
Yeah.
Wow. So good thing you got those. Good thing you got the ones you got, Bobby.
Yeah, I got the two, the Grimsword and Warduke. And I was hoping I was really wanting Kellic and stuff, but they were announcing it. So now it sucks. That's what I'm talking about. You get excited, you go and get these, and then they just cancel them.
Yeah.
Every single time, NECA's big on doing that. Planet of the Apes. I thought they kept asking what Planet of the Apes figures you want, and everybody's saying we want this figure, we want this character, and then nothing. It's gone. It's just.
Then they grab a license like Jaws, where they know they can't put out like half the figures for the movie.
Well, that's what they did for Godzilla too, because I was getting the Godzilla figures, and I was waiting for them to put out some of the older versions of them, and it's just Toho was just holding on to everything, and then they canceled that too. So it was like I spent all that money on all these Godzillas for, I don't know, it gets me upset.
Bud is saying something important here, and that is that and the same thing happened with the Dungeons and Dragons figures. They went on clearance,
and
we got some of those figures really at a really good price. And Bud is saying that Big Bad Toy Store has a big sale on the reaction figures for Motu and GI Joe. Now, I don't know. I haven't gone on there to look in a little while. I don't know if there's new characters out on Big Bad Toy Store from the Motu reaction line, but they've been on sale. Some of those Motu reaction figures have been on sale for a long time. So I'm gonna have to go back and look and see what's out there. But you can get these are $20 figures at one time. You can get them for $5.99 or $4. So
$20 for another figure. Jeez.
I mean, it's a lot, and the only thing that's frustrating, and this is going back to what Oz and you, Bobby, were talking about, was when a line is canceled and you're trying to get everything in the line, it's a real disappointment.
Yeah.
But that's why I've always been hesitant to be a completionist.
Mm-hmm.
Good to see you, Jamie. I've always been hesitant to be a completionist because it's like I don't want to break the bank getting just so I can have all the characters.
Yeah,
I mean, I've looked at Spike-Ore on Amazon now. Spike-Ore from Origins on Amazon now. For months now, I've been watching that guy, and I'm not willing to pay $30 for him. I'm just not. It's an Origins figure, but I definitely want him, and I missed the boat when he was $17.99.
Yeah.
But I have faith in the system that eventually he'll.
Someday you'll be able to get him.
I'll find him somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I agree with
you. And I have to be honest here. I apologize to all the people watching if you're hunting this down. But the mouse jaw at Target, when I saw it on my lunch break this week, there were like 10.
Yeah.
And I don't know, folks, if this is going to be an item that you should pay full price for. It's inevitably going to go on clearance, I think, just judging by what I'm seeing or what I saw this week. I mean, I could have just been lucky and they may have just put them out there and I got lucky in seeing that. But I don't know. We'll see.
Well, for me, that's one of the things, though. Like, as much as I like seeing toys hit clearance, I also don't want them. to go to clearance, right?
Yeah.
If you see toys go into clearance, that's not always such a good sign. It's great for your wallet, right? You're happy for your wallet. But then at the same point in time, if the retailers are having to clearance an item out, then chances are they're
There's a
less
lack of
likely
interest,
to want to
yeah.
keep getting them back in stock, right? I mean, that was kind of one of the reasons we had that big hang up that we did with what Scott was saying earlier this year about Origins ending, you know, killing it at retail. And that's just the reality of it. Like, the retailers are not going to order if they're not selling them for that, you know, market retail price. So
that freaked me out. I didn't know. I was like, who the hell's this? Because I know he wasn't supposed to
Hey,
show up.
Sean.
the Emperor.
What's up, Sean?
Sith Sean.
He finds your lack of faith disturbing.
That's
I
right.
was working on deadlines, and after a certain point, I heard the "to hell with you" with the deadlines, and I said, you know what, I need a break. So here I am.
This is a great break, Sean. It's a really great break.
I find your lack of deadlines disturbing.
You know, here's another thing too. Maybe it's just that, like, I guess we're starting on this conversation, right?
Yeah, it's
Tonight's
already
theme is why toys, people, and
you softly.
I do want to say this, maybe, and like I said, maybe it's just that I'm not seeing the stuff on the shelves anymore for Masters of the Universe as much. It's really feels like it's kind of dwindling. And
I saw a bunch of Andras the other day from Masterverse.
Yeah, that popped up out of. I saw a few things pop up out of nowhere too. But
same.
My thought is this, like, you know, the rush to get it, the excitement to get it, the ordering it online, the buying it at a higher price, that whole thing, it really, I feel like we're being played when that happens. Because as we've seen with Masters of the Universe, like, it's gonna come back in some form, people, and also you can trust that some of these Origins figures are going to be showing up on eBay in the future, and I highly doubt they're going to be real expensive. So, you know, just be patient. You don't have to get it all.
A few episodes back, I said, if you just wait a couple of years from now, you'll be able to get it. Might not get it now, but you'll be able to get it sometime. If you still really want it.
Yeah. With that being said, I totally pre-ordered the Filmation cartoon Origins Trap Jaw because he is absolutely gorgeous. I've seen some people's reviews, and that guy looks beautiful. And I'm definitely going to get that Merman because he's going to look amazing. So, I mean, it's, you know, it's a roller coaster, man. It's a damn roller coaster. Silence.
So, well,
Ace is reading the comment.
Ace is saying here that, you know, they found that a few Walmarts and Targets around them don't even carry Motu at all. And it's so annoying after driving out of the way in LA traffic to check out. I got to agree. Like, you know, it's a really tough call right now. Like, it seems none of the Walmarts around me, like, even though the new Turtles wave is supposed to be at both retailers, Walmart and Target. And of course, there's going to be retail exclusives. So we're supposed to be seeing the deluxe figures, right? Like, half of the deluxe figures are going to be Walmart exclusives. The other half are going to be Target exclusives. Worst choice ever for a Build-A-Figure, by the way. That is complete and total bullshit to do. But the Walmarts around just aren't carrying any of that stuff anymore, you know. Target doesn't seem to be having the same issue. And Blake Wright, Toy Collector Magazine, hanging out in the chat. Good to have you, brother.
Good to see you.
Thank you for being here. Hope all is going well, sir, and you're feeling good.
Yes, we do. We all thinking of you. The Walmarts around here don't have anything anymore. Except for the one Walmart. This one Walmart in a really small town, about a half an hour drive from me, and for some reason, Carrie has Moss Man, has minifigures from the previous waves. I mean, and I
Let me
feel
know which
like
ones they got. There's a couple I'm looking for, Skelly.
well, I pretty confident it's the same ones that
never
we've
mind
just
that.
been seeing around. But they did have a Stinkor for a while in really torn up packaging, and I just would watch it, wait for it to go on clearance. It never went on clearance, and last time I went, it was gone. But I keep waiting to see some of those more obscure Origins figures, and they're just not showing up. So. And Mossman hasn't gone on clearance yet, which is, funny. But let's get into it, guys. Do we want to do like a go around the table and provide your explanation in answering the question why toys, or do you want to just like? We also, by the way, have a Battle Ram report from Adam tonight too. So.
Thank God
I'm real
Bobby's back
excited
to do
about
the
this.
voice this week.
Yeah, I fucked that up last week.
I finally get the music to be able to fade in and fade out.
What did I say? Here's Adam's Battle Ram report. I don't know. I think that's all I said.
I think so.
I think it was better than what you did last week. I don't even remember what happened last week. I blacked it out of my mind.
Yeah.
We need that suaveness of Bobby's voice.
Yeah, right.
That's right.
And those of you in the chat, answer like why provide your explanation. Answer that question. Why toys? Why are toys? And I know some of you said why not toys. I mean, I agree with that too, but come on, let's dig deep here. Why toys?
I'll dig deep.
All right, Bobby, you go first. Let's do it.
You want me to go first? All right.
Yeah.
Well, before Bobby goes, let's get 20 likes before Bobby goes and tells you why toys. Let's get the likes
Let's
first.
Get 31 likes. How about that? Let's get 31 likes.
We got 31 people watching and 17 likes, people. Let's get those likes up. These are rookie numbers. Come on. I know you're all out there. Hit that like button.
What is it to like something?
Yeah. Right.
What do you mean by like?
What do you mean by like? What's good is fluid. Like you like me?
Circle yes or no.
Check no. Yes, exactly.
So Mike Fee says Motu is not at my stores at all, and TD. Oh, and the toys I collect take me back to a better time in life. Yeah, amen, brother. Like that's definitely a solid reason why.
Well, that's
toys.
one of the things I was going to discuss. That Well, is
well,
my if you want it, it's going to be dark.
Yeah, let's hear it, Bobby.
Okay. Well, as a kid, you get Christmases and you got your birthdays, and you're always excited for toys, right? Because it's something you get, but your imagination runs wild when you're playing with them as a young child.
Yeah.
And it makes you happy and all that stuff. So now, as an adult, you're trying to recapture that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we are going, I think, a little too much into it. Buying every single week, buying toys that are coming out. We're always looking for the new one to come out. We're not happy with what we have. We're always looking for the new stuff that's coming and coming and coming and coming. And I don't understand why that is. I've always tried to figure that out. And it's happened with me as well. And I think a lot of it has to do with, I don't know, as an adult, we're not as happy as we were as children in the toys. And we look back at it making us happy. So we think maybe it'll make us happy as an adult.
Yeah.
And the more you keep buying and buying, you're taking loneliness, sadness, and other shit that's in your life. You're covering that up by focusing on new toys that are coming out each week or whatever. And every time you buy something, you feel good. You get it in the mail. It feels good. But then you put it off to the side. Now you got to go buy the next one that's going to make you happy. and it's just a
Mhm.
constant pattern. And that's how I feel. It's what's happened with me for a long time, and I was doing that. And I think that's what a lot of us, maybe, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think it really has to do something with our emotional state of where we're at as adults, to look for something that's going to remove us from what we have going on and buying things to make us feel good in a way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're 100% right. And I kind of have a piggyback statement off of that, because I'm in 100% agreement with you, Bobby. I think we have, well, for me at least, I have very fond memories of the toys that I had as a kid.
Right.
Though this behind me like far surpasses anything I could have imagined as a kid.
Right.
So I have very fond memories of that. But this is where it gets complicated, and I think that's why Bobby's right here. I think that we apply an emotional weight to these artifacts. And for me, my small collection of toys carried me through some very difficult times as a kid. So I have particularly good memories about spending time by myself with these things. When everything else around me kind of felt chaotic.
Mhm.
And so it's like Thanos saying in the chat that it's like an addiction. We
It is
do
an
have an
addiction.
addiction to
Mhm.
we have an addiction to that feeling. It's like a warm blanket, you know. And yet it's like it is like a chemical addiction.
Mhm.
The warm blanket with a chemical addiction or an addiction to alcohol or drugs or whatever, it's like you've got the blanket, you're feeling the blanket, but it's just not warm enough.
Right.
It's just not warm enough so you got to get like a few more blankets on you, or you got to get an electric blanket, or you got to get 2 electric blankets, and nothing really quenches that thirst. That's the part that's when it gets dangerous.
Because I've been collecting forever, and
Yeah,
my dad
me too.
is a gambler. You know, he doesn't do it as much, but back in the early 90s, he almost sank us, you know.
Yeah.
And in my head, I always think, am I enjoying this as much as I think I am?
Right.
Or am I doing this because my dad's addicted to that? Is that something in my genes that I'm addicted to? Not so much gambling, but buying toys. And, you know, we always talk about where we're buying a bunch of shit. 5 years later, it's like, well, I don't need those figures no more. I'm going to offload those, and I'm going to buy new stuff with that money, you know, instead of just, that's why I've always said I'm a vintage collector, because I know exactly what's out already, because they're not making no more. And it's something I had an attachment to as a kid. I go out and get that, but now it's done. It's complete. I don't have to worry about new stuff coming out. But why do we have that pull to where this was I was going through with Origins. I was like, I'm buying all this shit. It's just remakes of everything I've had. And I'm like, I got to get this. This is making me feel good. And I think I said this last year, last year, where I was buying some classics, and I was like happy I bought them. I got them in the mail. I put them on the shelf, and I said, fuck, great.
Yeah.
Now what? You know?
Now what? Exactly.
And now they sit in the closet in the box. It's
so.
You know?
I think you're right. The vintage stuff is why we love it in the first place.
Right.
For most of us, I will say that as collectors, we can evolve.
Yes.
As collectors of toys, we can evolve. We can like kind of what Adam's doing with finding some of those classics that he doesn't have that he has on his list.
But he's doing it right though. He's not going out there and buying 15 a month. You know, he's grabbing the ones he really wants, and then he's like happier. It makes you happier when you do that than going out and saying, shit, I got 5 Origins to buy this month. There's 6 GI Joes coming out, and then I gotta get all a bunch of fucking Supermen and Batmans and all this. And then you're like, then you got all. If you take all the shit that you buy and you throw it in one room and put it on the floor, and you got like a big pile of shit, and you're like,
and this is why I think
what
I
the
think
hell
Sean's
does that
doing
really
it.
make me happy? You know,
I think that's why
you.
Sean's doing it. Sean's doing it right too, with deciding, okay, Mondo's where I'm going to go with this. Like,
Yes.
I'm going to invest in this thing that is something that I know I'm going to treasure,
Yep.
you know, for the rest of my life. Like, I'm going to
Right.
buy that thing. It's you know, with Adam's Classics and with Sean's Mondos, I'm willing to bet money that they're not going to sell those things until their kids are selling them off, you know,
Right.
because those are particularly special.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I started the Weekly Weirdo thing several months ago, or last year, because I wanted to talk about why something is so important that you don't get rid of it.
Yeah.
This
There
thing's
are
got to
items
be,
like
you've
that,
got to,
yes.
yeah, you got to have,
I'll
you
tell
got to
you.
have significance there.
When I stopped, so I was buying every Origins that came out, and I was buying. I didn't even want to get Masterverse, but I saw it at Target, like, oh, He-Man must buy.
It's like,
When I stopped doing that, it was as a relief, because keeping up with a current toy line is stressful. If it's an old toy line, even classics, they're expensive, but I don't have to buy one every month. I can buy one every 3 months,
Right. Exactly.
and then it's affordable. And it's not going. If I miss out on that auction for Sorceress, she's not going anywhere. I'll get the next one. It's fine.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, because you know, they got these stupid reels now on IG where people go by, I'm a so and so and this is this, and then the next person, I'm a so and so and this is this. I seen one where there were movie collectors, and the guy's like, I'm a movie collector because I like Blu-rays, and then the next one is like, well, as a movie collector, I buy the special edition packages. I've never seen this movie and I'll never watch this. And I'm sitting there like, so why the fuck are you buying it then?
Yeah.
Is this something that you just have this big wall of videos and it's got to get bigger so you can feel good, or what? That's like wasting $30 for nothing. It's just going to sit there. And book collectors do the same thing too. They buy all these books and never read them.
Definitely.
It's the same thing. You know, it's not just toys, but there's something. I'm trying to get too philosophical in this bullshit, but
no,
I think it's just there's something in our mind that's making us do this. You know,
just be thankful that we don't have the urgency to collect cars like Jay Leno.
Oh well, we don't have the money for that. But that's our thing. That's our collection, though. Is like what he does. If you think about it,
I don't even think he has. How can you have the money to buy all that?
He makes millions of dollars, so he's going to buy the big items, just like all those fucking rich people. Well, I got to go buy this painting so I can look cool because I have $100 million painting on my wall. Us, we're like, that $100 figure is so cool. We're going to buy that. That $50 figure is cool. I'm going to buy that. It's the same thing. It's just it's our money, whatever we can afford.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
You know, it's I don't know.
You had, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, because that's why I quit collecting last year, because I was really, going through that. Like, am I just doing this just to make me happy, or I need to find out what really makes me happy, not this Band-Aid every couple weeks. There's just that's what I've been through. So I'm saying this through my experience. So I'm not saying it might be everybody, but it's just.
Well, I agree with you, and when it becomes a Band-Aid, that's when we really have to think. Like, we have to look at why. Why are we letting that be a Band-Aid, and what is it that we're covering up, and what can we do to get better? Adam, at the beginning, you were talking about like what can we do to make time go by slower, and one of the things we can do is just try to spend less time on our phones and try to watch YouTube less as we're on YouTube.
And don't say I can't wait till September so I could buy the next Trap Jaw.
Yeah. And I mean, we got to think like I think it's important to remember the things that you want to get aren't just to have them.
Right.
The things that we want to get, we shouldn't be wanting to get it just to have it because of a momentary urge.
And that's why I
we
saw
got to think
that Evil Lynn's coming out for Mondo, and I'm like, oh, okay, I think I can get that one.
Yeah.
And that'll be the only thing I get out of toys this year is that, or if it comes out this year. But
I mean,
but that's like
so
one
you
thing,
said-
and it's like that's awesome. Not
well,
I have a whole
Lynn's
room
gonna
of
look
shit to look at that I don't even care about. So
Lynn's gonna look great next to Trapjaw, and
Yeah.
that's gonna ultimately make you very, very happy.
right.
And I think that's what we're supposed to be in pursuit of is happiness. And
Yep.
as showcased in the most that last episode of Legends of Grayskull, where Sean and Matt talked about their disappointment in that comic, that's a very real thing.
Right.
But most of us are wanting to buy that comic anyways because it's Masters. Like, here's this thing that we want to get. But to be disappointed with it makes us think, like, well, why did I get it? It's just $5, right?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe that's why. But I was at I stopped by Ross, just hoping the last Ross in town, just hoping that might be some Universal monsters left over, but of course there weren't. But they had the CGI He-Man and Skeletor 2-pack for $3.99. And I swear, Skelly from last year would have just bought it and figured out and opened it up and then wondered why. But Skelly this year was like, I'm not even going to spend $3.99 on this. I know what's going to happen. I'm going to open it. I might take 1 or 2 action figure photos, and then they're going to go in a box.
Yeah.
And that
right.
I was just like, okay, well, I guess that's it then. But if I were to see, Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, New Eternia, Trapjaw there for $5.99, I would definitely buy a second one of those.
Yeah. But I mean,
because that is a beautiful figure, So we're measuring love. Is that what it is? Like measuring
love and happiness, I guess. Yeah.
Happiness.
Well, see, I met a guy down in Arizona. He's a big comic book collector. He's been collecting since high school, and he's my age. And he would buy, I don't know, $300 worth of comics every month or $200, whatever it is. Like, he'd get all the titles, no matter what it was. And he has a whole closet. I mean, he's got thousands and thousands of comics. And he says he's probably only read 20% of them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that's a lot you're spending just to have. And I asked him why, but he has that addiction problem because he does the same thing with he pulled out all these boxes of action figures and all kinds of stuff. He just has to constantly buy. And I'm just like, man, that's crazy.
So I think that's the. Go ahead.
There's a collector mindset. You can collect anything. You can collect guitars or doilies or whatever. But the other thing, like the thing that got me into He-Man, I think, like if it's something that you had as a kid, there's each one of those toys when you buy them that comes wrapped with a memory.
Right.
Like Skeletor, the original Skeletor. There's at least 2 little bits of memory from my childhood that I dredge up when I hold that figure. And I think that's where that initial spark, you get that rush of emotion. Like, I remember I was in the TV room, like my parents were watching Doctor Who, and I was just enraptured with this, looking at Skeletor and the design of his hood, and it's just little bits of your history that would have totally been lost otherwise when you acquire these things.
Exterminate in the background while you're holding Skeletor.
Right. Yeah. I think that's, I mean, it doesn't have to, it can evolve from there. It can be about collecting. It can be about admiring really finely crafted works of art. Like,
that's true.
Yes.
Like Four Horsemen, their stuff, it's not nostalgia driven. Most, they're creating new stuff. There's a lot of, classic elements in there, but it's a lot of that could be just admiring the craftsmanship, the paint, the
Right.
sculpt. That can be how it comes. There's all these different aspects to collecting that kind of hit you.
Yeah,
I think
there is the hobby, and then there is the addiction part of it to it. Like I could look at, like Adam was saying, I can look at all of my vintage He-Man figures, and I could breathe it and just say, "Oh, this is awesome." Then I go and I bought all those Origins toys, and I'm like, why did I buy all of these? And and I had Universal Monsters, and I had other stuff. And I sold a lot of crap because I was buying so much stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just like that's why I needed to focus, but I focused on Masters at the wrong time because that's when all the new shit was coming out. And then it was just like
it's I think Adam, and Bobby, obviously you're right too. Adam, you're also touching on something really important, which is the art of it. Four Horsemen's a great example. You're buying a little sculpture, and if you're buying Mondo, you're buying a larger sculpture. Without venturing into, you don't even have to venture into statues. If you want art in your home, you can buy a Mythic Legions figure or something designed by the Four Horsemen or a classics Masters of the Universe or the occasional really well done Masterverse figure. But like, to me, here's another experience I had at the same Ross. I saw Tomax and Zaymot. We were talking about that. Was it last week, Oz?
Yep, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, something like that.
2 weeks ago, the G.I. Joe classified twins, and I loved them as a kid. I just thought it was fascinating that these characters they were interesting. But then I held the figure, I took the box off the shelf, and I looked closely at it, and I was like, this is not going to satisfy the artistic thing that I'm looking for. It's not going to satisfy that for me. It doesn't quite. If I wanted that feeling, I would get the vintage twins because there's a uniqueness there. And it just wasn't doing it for me. And that kind of stinks because I'm a fan of the Dreadnoks, and I was kind of interested in the Dreadnoks as classified figures. But if all the classified figures I've looked at up close, I'm like, just not quite there. And then I go on eBay and I'm like, let me look up, the Dreadnoks, vintage Dreadnoks, and see what's going on. See how the prices are,
Yeah.
But yeah, some of the stuff looks fantastic.
It's one of the best classified figures ever, Timber.
Yeah.
And it comes with a really cool accessory, Snake Eyes.
Yeah. There you go, right?
Snake Eyes. Yeah.
Also,
it's like Croc.
Yeah, hold on. I'm getting another amazing classified figure, Fiona.
Beautiful.
And she comes with a pretty cool accessory with Crocmaster. He's all right. But, Fiona definitely steals the show. I gotta say, out of the G.I. Joes, he's like one of the quirky, weirdest guys there is. But just randomly, we're a terrorist organization. We have a guy who trains crocodiles. It's cool.
How much are classifieds anyway?
For ones like this with the pet, they're like $55. Your base level figures $25.
Okay.
Again, that's like Hasbro's like gold price point for their basic figures, $25, and then it can go up from there for depending on accessories, deluxe, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, because I got excited when I saw the Dreadnoks as well. I was like,
yeah, definitely.
I like to get the 4, original ones without Zartan, but.
I've got a Zartan over here.
You got Zartan?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. He's in my small. Ken sent me a couple of other classified figures because I'm building a small little team that I'm going to have some Predators hunt.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, just for some fun photo.
I
Yeah,
mean,
just Dreadnoughts are cool.
The Dreadnoughts
I've
are-
always loved them as a kid.
They're my favorite.
And I have. I remember when we had a grab bag for grade school in 1983, and we had this. It was a Secret Santa thing, and the girl that grabbed my name, she's like, "What would you like?" And I was like, "I like Ripper from," because we had to spend like $3.
Mm.
So I was like, I would like Ripper from G.I. Joe. And she came up to me like a week later and said, I got your guy, and she got
There
it for
you
me for
go.
Christmas.
That's cool.
But I've always been fascinated with the Dreadnoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Love these.
super great. I mean, they're post-apocalyptic. They're
Mad Max.
they're
villains. Yep.
Yeah.
Mad Max villains, But that's, I think that the other thing that we haven't addressed yet is play. I mean,
Yeah.
Bud said, I get high and play with my toys. That's like his happiness. And, I think that's wonderful. Like if you actually have a toy collection and you actually take a toy off the shelf every once in a while, hold it in your hand, go out there, play with it, whatever you want to do to play with it. Playing can be just like looking at it closely and, holding it or doing toy photography or just moving things around and on your shelves to create scenes. They're going to be stationary, but you're moving them around. You're engaging with them. If you engage with your collections, guys, I mean, and how much so, right?
When my son was young, like 5, we would play with my He-Man stuff all the time. It is a blast. If you've got a chance to do that, either if a child or you have a nephew or a niece, it is a blast. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I did that with my son as well. We played a lot. I even bought fucking Ninja Turtles for him. And I hate Ninja Turtles, but I bought them because he wanted them.
Well, that's what he's into, right?
That's what he's into.
Kind of go with what they want.
Well, I bought it for him. We played with him like twice, and then he was on to something else. It's like I bought all 4 of them.
Well, that's the thing with kids, right? Like their attention spans on what they're into it's very, very quick. And that's really where it goes. I know for me, one of the big things that, aside from just collecting, getting back into these toys, and number one factor for a lot of people right now is nostalgia, right?
Yeah, of course, that's the biggest target. Yeah.
If you think about it, like there was all the jokes when we were growing up and everything like that. Men hit that midlife crisis and now they go buy the sports car and they find the young chick and everything like that. Well, we're doing that with plastic, boys. It's all it is. And it's to try and, recapture. A lot of people been saying in the chat, that simpler time, that funner youth. That is definitely 100% a huge factor of what we're doing.
And that goes back to what I was saying when you were happy. Yeah.
Yep. And it releases dopamine. Dopamine is something your body creates, and that's the number one reason everybody goes and gets high. Releases dopamine and serotonin in your system, the stuff that makes you feel good.
That's why
you get addicted to that.
A compulsive masturbator.
Yep. Do it 20, 30 times a day. I mean, what?
Bobby, you're a master debater. That's what.
That's right. That's what I said. Master debater. That's what I said. That's what I said.
That's why nobody invites him on to go debate on any of the big channels with their debates, because he's a master debater.
I set out the booty traps.
When you start the conversation with "excuse me while I whip this out" to make your point, that's usually when they go, "Okay, we're done."
Yeah, right.
See you later.
Show's over.
Yeah.
But to that point, you're addicted to that dopamine. You're not necessarily addicted to toys. You're addicted to the dopamine. You're addicted to that feel-good drug.
Well, that's what I was saying.
People get addicted
buying toys all the time. It's giving you that that patch that you need.
And
that's what
the nostalgia doubles down on it.
Right.
So it feeds it even more.
Well, and that's why Super 7 came out with all those reaction figures from the very beginning. Because everybody wants those Star Wars toys. So hey, I would love to have a Star Wars style figure in this and this. And then it just took off.
Yeah. But let's not forget one of those key factors that hasn't really been touched on too much except for a little bit here in the chat. I know Ace was bringing it up. We were 100% programmed as kids.
Yeah,
you can try to deny it all you want, but that's what we were. And we were done.
Who would deny that? It's so
It's
clear.
obvious.
It's so clear.
There's documentation at Mattel that they spoke with psychologists on how to appeal to kids. Like, it was a very real thing that happened. They definitely did that with Masters of the Universe. They were like, what can we do to make this appeal to children? And that's what they did. We were 100% programmed as children to collect them all. And that's one of the reasons they came out with that big legislation as to what you could show and how you could do this and how you could do that with advertising towards kids.
Yeah, that's why I'm a cheese fanatic, because of that fucking little guy saying I'm hanker for a hunk of cheese.
That's right. Raisins.
Yeah,
California raisins are little.
Oh yeah,
I go
little
crazy
living
for raisins, and then I pop them in my mouth, and I'm like, "What the hell? Why do I like these?" And yet I'll still eat them. But
That's
you know,
true.
we all were. We were programmed. We were sat in front of the TV for a couple hours every morning before school, a couple hours after school every day, and then several hours on Saturday. And we were programmed to love this stuff, to like it. That's why the nostalgia factor hits so hard. It's wired in here. And, you know, that's...
Gallon of milk, loaf of bread, and a tube of butter.
There you go. Sounds like
You
a
ever see
Friday
that one
night.
too?
I don't remember that one.
That's a Sesame Street thing.
Okay. But, yeah, you know, we got programmed. And then that's a huge thing for collecting. And you double down with being programmed. Your brain likes that dopamine response, and it's programmed to trigger that as much as it is. And here we go. To add on to the targeted marketing, our adult peers are now the ones making the toys and doing the marketing. So now all the stuff we wanted is now getting made for real.
Right.
And that's absolutely it, right?
Well, that's what I was saying about the Dungeons and Dragons, but that kind of shit down. So, you know, where does that go?
It's weird.
Super
like
7.
why does some of it work and why does some of it not work?
7.
That's a real strange thing.
Yeah,
I will say I have mentioned this before. I don't remember. I may have mentioned it. I may have mentioned it in when we recorded Cambridge and was on this last weekend. I think that's maybe not. I don't know. But this is another thing that's powerful about plastic. The smell.
Yes.
So when I opened this Toxic Avenger,
stick of butter.
He smelled exactly like, and I don't know why, but I guess it's just because our brains are sponges when we're kids. But
Bud, you could fuck off with
smell...
that shit. I'm getting tired of that stuff. Go ahead. Sorry, Skelly.
Oh, Bud, yeah. What was I saying? Oh,
the smells.
So when I was really lucky to get the Sice Noodles and the band set, the 3 figures from Return of the Jedi as a kid. And when I opened that up and I smelled those figures, they had a particularly different smell from other plastic figures that I had previously gotten. And, you know, and Jabba the Hutt had a particular smell too, which was different from the other figures. And when I opened this Toxic Avenger, he still smells just like Sice Noodles.
Wow.
And
smells a powerful thing.
I love that so much. Like, that is such a cool feeling. When I open up the case back here and I pull Stinkor out and I smell Stinkor and that vintage figure still smells, that's magic, man.
It is.
That
it's
is
like I used to go to record stores when I was
nostalgia.
a kid too. The record store down the street from my house, and I go buy a tape and stuff. And I'd open up the cassette tape and I would smell it.
Yes,
and, you know,
smell
the paper.
Cassette tape.
The tape, but you got the
print.
The insert. Yeah, all that stuff smells. Yeah, you just remember all that crap.
And for some reason,
like the zoo, you'll never forget the smell of piss. You know, when you go to the zoo.
Oh, yeah, elephant shit. Like, you'll never forget the smell of elephant shit.
Go through the rhinoceros, you know, the pachyderm house, and the boy, that'll never get rid of it. You always smell it.
Yeah. I love the smell of plastics. It's special. It's like, kind of like, I guess it might be like maybe loving the smell of gasoline or something. I don't know quite what it is, but here's what was. That's why the fact that Mossman my Origins Mossman no longer smells. That's so sad to me.
Yeah.
The fact that the Stinkor had a very minor smell and he no longer smells. Origins, like those are big. Sorry, Mattel. I know we're friends, but those are big failures. Those are big failures.
Well, I remember when they announced Stinkor, it was during COVID, right? And they had the panels online. You were able to watch it, and someone asked him if the Stinkor was going to smell, and he said, "Yeah, it's going to smell bad." Yep. And then everybody got one. It's like, okay, it smells like a Band-Aid to me, not,
Yeah, a Band-Aid is exactly right.
They did that with the classic Stinkor, but he faded fast. Like if you get one today, they're pretty much gone. But the 85 Stinkor, a lot of them still have a little bit of scent.
Still smell infused with the plastic.
It's beautiful. I mean, I will say this: Mossman, I have 2 vintage Mossmen, and they don't smell.
No, the Mossman didn't smell nearly as much as Stinkor.
Yeah, but Stinkor, and in fact, and I think we mentioned it before, but in the previous episode, but if you grew up in the 80s, if you grew up in the late 70s, early 80s, and you were a teenager in the 90s, and you had a Stinkor, then when the head shops started becoming popular again and neo hippies started wearing patchouli oil again, like it was a big deal if you were a fan of Stinkor. It's like, there's that smell. There's that smell. Hey,
I think Stinkor's hanging out in this shop. Come out 3 hours later, your eyes are bloodshot. Oh, shit.
I gotta say, I think the toy thing is going to be pretty concentrated to kids who grew up in the 70s, probably to the 90s.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where you get the most imaginative toys. Before then, you get like maybe Lincoln Logs and Tinker Toys and whatever. Yeah. And then after that, it's mostly video games. But there's this 30-year
I'll
window.
Just ask for some Tinker Toys.
Yeah. 30-year window where you get these really imaginative action figures and play sets and all this cool stuff.
There's a lot of kids that don't play with toys anymore, though. That's the sad part.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing that
I've
said about this. People who were older than us, right? The generations that were older with us, they don't understand why we have this attachment to toys or these childlike things. They don't really get it. Well,
look at the toys they had too, though.
Right. The toys that they had were nowhere near like what we had.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. Also, their parents came from like the Depression era. Right. Yeah. Whereas our parents kind of came into that post-World War II era for the most part. So they had a little bit more money. They were able to spend a little bit on things, and they were able to get us more of this stuff than, say, what their parents may have got for them.
But they would get like one doll a year or something like that. And that's what they really cherished. That's what I'm talking about. You get the one thing that you really love, or do you need 1,000 dolls? You know what I mean?
I mean, that's up to the person, right? As long as what they're buying, they get enjoyment from, there's no wrong way to do it.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying.
Whether you collect on card or whether you open them like I do, there's no wrong way to do it as long as it's bringing you some kind of happiness.
Right.
I have a question for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So Bobby, I don't know if you all follow Bobby Dangerously on Instagram, but he always posts lately. He's been posting a lot of good like cartoon DVDs and Blu-rays, mainly DVDs. And yesterday and today, or was it yesterday or was it today? I don't know. They all blend together. But the Chronological Donald, like Walt Disney Treasures, Chronological Donald, Volume 1 and 2. Bobby, you posted that, and it got me thinking about how brilliant Disney is. That you have this company that's been around for 100 years. You have Donald. You have Mickey Mouse, right? That our grandparents grew up with.
Yep.
And you have you have Moana or whoever, Wish or whatever that our kids are growing up with, and this stems into toy talk a little bit. What does it take? So let me step back just a little bit. I hear the Donald Duck song at the beginning of those shorts,
Mhm.
and my mind short circuits with joy. I absolutely
Yes.
love that song. But that same song can be enjoyed by kids because of Disney Plus and this sort of like the
Yes.
saturation of Disneyfied things. Um, can an IP like Masters of the Universe or a company like Mattel accomplish the same thing? Are we we were just talking like how the toy lines are the toy fanaticism might end in once the people from the 90s are all grown up and old, but what are there any sort of is there any carryover nostalgia that's really going to last beyond the plastic and beyond the cartoons?
I don't know if it's nostalgia to say. I think because you think you had to go to the movies to see those cartoons. So how often are you going to see all those cartoons at the movies?
If you
You know what I'm saying?
happen to have cable, if you had
Well,
cable in the 80s or
nowadays,
90s,
yes.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying
yeah.
they originally came out. So you're looking at 1928 when the first Mickey Mouse came out, and then
Mm-hmm.
all through the 30s you had Betty Boop and Popeye and Flip the Frog and all those other ones, and then
Mm-hmm.
and Looney Tunes. But Looney
Yeah.
Tunes really took off, once Bugs Bunny came around in the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to go to the theater to see all of those, which you probably didn't see every single one. But they were brilliant enough to start showing a lot of those on TV, in the 60s and 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how a
Yep.
lot of kids grabbed onto those characters. But
Yep.
I think it's
Exactly.
also the company, Walt Disney's the big one doing that, where they made it relevant all this time.
Yeah.
They kept it in
From
the,
the beginning to
in
now.
front
Yeah.
of everybody's visual. I mean, Mickey Mouse is everywhere, even though he wasn't um, the funniest or the most enjoyable cartoons. Donald Duck's a lot funnier than Mickey Mouse. Goofy's a lot funnier. And then, of course, the Looney Tunes are brilliant compared
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
those are more brilliant than the Disney shorts. But Disney keeps it relevant in front of everybody's eyes, and they make it special all the time.
Yeah.
Mattel hasn't done that with Masters. So that's where, they got to make it seem like Masters is this is it, like Disney does. I mean, they got
You
theme parks all over the world now, and you're never going to have a Masters theme park. They're building that Mattel thing in Arizona, but
Yeah, but
it's not
what's to say
it's
that's
not
ever really gonna
Masters
take
themed.
off, right?
Yeah, it's not Masters themed,
So
Yeah.
but they have to really focus and make it relevant for us to buy into it. And it might be a little too late, for
yeah, in
that.
some ways
Yeah.
it is.
They
You've
they should
gotta
have been struck while the movies were hot, like the
Yes.
Transformers and GI Joe movies were out. It should have been the Masters movie then.
yeah, something along those lines probably should have happened. But that's really what started to help build the nostalgia train we're riding on now. The only problem is they're trying to appeal to the same crowd, right?
Yes,
They're trying to
that's the
appeal
thing.
to us.
Mhm.
That's not where you want to.
That's what I'm saying. Right.
We're not the ones you need to attract. We're already lifelong fans of this. We love what we had. A lot of us really like what's coming out. A lot of us love the fact that they started doing Origins again because it was exciting to see
Right.
Masters of the Universe, that classic style, on the shelf again. It was really
Yes.
amazing. But we're not the ones you need to target. You need to target the younger audience.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
And
Ninja
that's what
Turtles.
Disney does. They
Right.
got adults, and they got people like us who, they call it the Disney adults now, who go to Disneyland without kids, or whatever, because they just love it. And then, it's just relevant to everybody. Masters is not relevant to everybody. So
Nope.
that's the thing. It's a more of a
Right.
niche compared to a broad thing like Disney. Even
Exactly.
Looney Tunes is dying down. It's not as dominant as it could be.
Right.
But I still think
Warner
it's superior
Brothers.
compared to Disney, as in funniness and cartoon, the shorts. But Disney was smart and they made movies and and other things, and the Looney Tunes movies suck. So it's just
Oh,
the way
that's
it is.
isn't that sad?
Warner Brothers.
Well, it's because they try to take these older characters, and you're used to seeing all those shorts the way they are, and then they try to put the modern comedy in there, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
Hey, Don. All right, I have a proposition for all. We know that we have a lot of amazingly talented artists in the chat. I know definitely that some of us make art in different ways in the right here in this live thing that we're doing. The challenge is someone have a close look at the Disneyland map, right? There's always a Disneyland map. It comes out every year probably, and there are always these little differences, but it's not a straight up and down view of Disneyland. It's kind of slightly at a slant, and you sort of see all the parks, and you see the sections of the park and the different features in each section. I've never seen one for Disney World, but I'm sure there's one for Disney World. Yeah. And draw up an Eternia land based on that floor plan, the Disneyland floor plan.
Can you
Castle
imagine
Grayskull,
going like an Oracle spin ride where you sit on Oracle?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, come on, who wouldn't want to go on a Dumbo Orco ride, or walk through the mouth of Castle Grayskull like you do at the Sleeping Beauty Castle, or
Battle Cat and Panther merry-go-round,
And Battle Cat and Panther merry-go-round. Like everybody gets a Battle Cat or a Panther. You get to choose, and
the big Castle Grayskull that you walk through, like you do at Disneyland,
you walk through the mouth. I mean, well, whether you can draw or not, I want to see those.
Like what I'm talking about, Mad Hatter with the Matterhorn.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. Ride a big snake around. That'd be freaking.
That would be amazing. Yes. Amazing.
Cars.
Battle Ram cars. Imagine the Eternos.
Well, the
Palace.
Wind Raider would be great, like the Dumbo ride. The Wind Raider.
Oh, awesome. Yes, perfect. Or the rocket ride in Tomorrowland, right?
Well, that could be the Rotons.
That could be the Rotons.
Monstroid could be a ride too.
Right. Yeah, it's like a Gravitron.
Monstroid.
You're inside the Monstroid.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine a Pirates of the Caribbean ride, or Caribbean, depending on how you pronounce it, right? Pirates of the Caribbean ride, something like that with Merman. Oh yeah,
Merman and Clawful. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge, folks. This is actually an official challenge. I want to see. We gave
a bunch of good ideas too out there.
We did. All you got to do.
Just to start off.
I want to see several versions of this. We actually still have posters to give away, folks, that were generously donated by Motu Origins Cork, who I know is going to be watching the rerun of this. We have more posters, another package of posters for the winner and of the Eternia land.
And the art doesn't have to be perfect. It's the
doesn't have to be good.
Ideas of the rides.
Exactly.
And the layout. Think of it as like that. Those old games from the early 2000s where you had to build a roller coaster or the zoos, and you got to plot out how to make it.
Yes, exactly.
The patrons happy.
Yes, absolutely. So Eternia Land contest. Let's announce it right now.
I used to love that. What do we want to one? And that was great. You let the lions out and you eat all the people.
Oh yes, loved it. So Eternia Land contest. We're gonna do what should be the late February. What do you think? Is that enough time, or is that too much time?
No, that'd be good.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. Let me look at the calendar real quick. Sean, you're an artist. Tell us your thoughts on this. You think it's a good plan?
I think it could be a fun idea. There's no way I'd have time to do it though. But other people are able to.
I know.
I know there was a point where Matt and I were like kicking around ideas what could be done, and yeah, we had our own thoughts, but it was more of a centralized ride than a land.
Hmm.
So
yeah, I'm thinking a whole land. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna do.
And you could break it up just like they do in Disneyland, where you got like Frontierland, Toonland and Fantasyland. Do that like Eternia stuff,
Do February 22nd? Yes, absolutely.
Like Snake Mountain area, and you got other shit.
All right. So February 22nd. The winner will be announced February 29th. How does that sound?
Perfect. And the art doesn't have to be brilliant. It could just be, small sketches, but with the idea is what I think is the most important. The idea.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd like to make a certain distinction, though. We lost Oz, but a certain distinction. Let's do, even if you're not you don't have good drawing skills. I think we'd rather see images than like a description. So,
I'm saying images, but I'm saying don't worry that you won't win because of the art itself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the ideas.
Yeah, it's the ideas.
So ideas paired with
sketch
images.
it what you think you can with your talent.
Yeah,
and because I can't draw for shit, but I can, at least draw a little bit and give an idea of what this could be.
Well, I don't know where Oz went. We lost him. Dawn is wondering, where did Oz go? Well, I'm sure he'll be popping back
earlier,
in.
Right? Yeah, I don't know.
He did? Did he?
Yeah, he probably did. Yeah, because he's not like he's not just turned off his mic and camera. He's actually gone.
Yeah. He's not down below. He's not in the green room, folks. So hopefully Oz will come back soon. And I'm sure it's just tech problems, which is like the thorn in everybody's side.
Mm-hmm.
So any other thoughts? Oh wait, he may have said something. He had to go for a personal thing. So hopefully everything's okay, Oz.
Oh yeah.
All right. So he did Oz while he was here. He did. I gotta find it now. He did check a bunch of people's comments here. So I'm gonna see if I can find. Oops. Where they are. Oh, that's gone now too. Sorry. I don't have the checked ones anymore for some reason.
We haven't heard from Sean yet on his ideas of the Y toys.
Y toys.
So Y toys. I'm gonna try to make it not long, but unfortunately, it's this weird way that happened because you grow up with them. Obviously, Masters was one of them. G.I. Joe, Transformers, Superpowers, whatever. I had Ghostbusters. I enjoyed a lot of different things. And then, as you grow up, then I was graduating high school. I was in art school. And all of a sudden, I'm at my comic store because I was really into comics in my teens. My late teens or early teens, all that was comics. And all of a sudden, I see He-Man staring at me on Toy Fair, but a whole different version of He-Man than I ever remembered. And I'm like, what? Like, He-Man's coming back? What the heck? And so that got my juices flowing again about, like, toys. Remember that? That was still good. Yes, there's comics. Yes, there's music. Yes, there's girls. But toys were still good, too. And it's funny because every time after that point, when I would get back into something, it was because of a life event happening. So in my early 20s, I went through this really, really, really difficult breakup with the girl that I thought I was going to marry and all this stuff. And like after she and I parted ways, I would just go to the mall. I would just go to Toys R Us and I would just like haunt those places just to get out instead of just stay at home and ruminate on these things. And I was there the day they started putting He-Man and Skeletor for 2000X on the pegs, and I grabbed them and ran. I literally booked it to the cashier, and I'm like, I want these. I could not believe that they were out. I got them and all that. And, you know, I collected those, but I was more mint on card at that point. I just didn't want to tear things apart. I liked that I had because it meant something too. Like mint on card, I didn't do that when I was a kid. Right. So I'm like, I'm more refined now. I have the and you know, I had that, and then,
Star Wars did all that to us. I think it's because they're so valuable. I think that's why. Yeah.
My mother could tell you stories about what I did with those Star Wars card backs that she to this day is like, I don't know why you had me do this, but you made me do this. You would not leave it alone until I did this. And then I'm like, well, now you ruined it, Sean. And I'm like, but I got cutouts. It's awesome. And then they were probably thrown away within a few days. Yeah. But so I had the 2000X stuff hit, and then adulthood started kicking in pretty hard. And then, you know, I was collecting that a little bit here and there, but there was no toy community. I wasn't involved with the org or anything. It was just me enjoying this stuff and finding happiness and just having these new versions of what I had when I was a kid. And then like fast forward to 2016, and I already was a father once. My daughter was born in 2012, but then 2015 was when we found out that we were going to have our son. 2016 was when he was born, and when he was born, my wife is like, okay, well, you're going to quit your job. You're going to stay at home and be a father and raise him because we can't afford doing daycare costs. So we'll do this and we'll make it work. And there was a lot of upheaval happening. We just bought a house, but somehow I'm quitting my job to do this. And, you know, all these things going on. And it was not long after he was born where I also saw the news that Matty Collector was closing. And I looked at that and I go, I got to at least check this out. I never got on board with classics because I missed He-Man and Skeletor. And if I couldn't start with He-Man and Skeletor, it just felt wrong to me. So I never jumped on. And I knew they were out there for 8 years at that point. I really wanted these figures. And every time I go to a comic convention, I'd see them, but then they're like $100, $150 or what. And I'd always be like, man, I don't have that kind of cash on me readily to just do that. So 2016, that happens. Matty Collector's closing, and they had Snake Armor He-Man and King Hiss still available. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, wait a minute. They did this? And then it made me go down the rabbit hole of researching classics. And long story short, there, I finally said, I need to get a He-Man. I need this because I literally felt like I was drowning in all of this adulthood, all of this change, all of this responsibility, all of these uncertainties. And I needed to have something that felt normal again. And that was the thing that the thing is, like, ironically, as a little side note, before I did that, I was huge into comic books, and my buddies and I were always like Wednesday night, we'd be at the comic shop and get the new comics and all that stuff. And the movies, like the Marvel stuff was hitting, but then like Man of Steel hit. And Man of Steel depressed the shit out of me because I'm like, this isn't my Superman. Where's the hope? Where's that sense of I got your back? It's okay. Yeah. You know, I'm a friend and all that. And I'm watching this just going, what is going on with this? And then like Batman v Superman hit, and I'm like, I can't like this anymore. Like it's I literally felt like I was fighting a tsunami of insanity of these people going, this is my version. And I'm like, how can you like this? Like I couldn't. So then like that was another thing. It's like the stuff that I loved, I felt I couldn't do. I was rejecting it. there was He-Man again. And
Mhm.
He-Man was in a way that I was really appreciating. Like, fully articulated. He doesn't have to crouch anymore. He can stand up on it, and it was like mind blowing. So I got him, and I opened him up, and I always joke about it, but it was literally like I felt like I could go home again for the first time.
Yeah,
Then I got
know that feeling.
Skeletor. And my daughter, actually, the minute I got Skeletor in the mail, he was mint on card, a classics figure. My daughter grabbed him and ripped him open. And I go, I guess I'm not a mint on card guy with this collection.
Yeah, right.
And and next thing I know, like I'm showing her, here's Skeletor, here's He-Man, and it just became my sanity with everything the way it was going. It was like I could come downstairs to my basement. There's these figures, and it was almost like here's a piece of you from when it was simpler. Here's the nostalgia. But the other thing too was the artistry, like you talked about, and just seeing the improvements and seeing the changes and all that stuff. And then on top of that, like finding a community where other people were doing this too, and finding their way and enjoying it, and bringing news about it, and also just bringing clarity to like the history, like Adam does, talking about the history of something that we love as much as we do, and seeing Pixel Dan's videos and getting more invested in the classics line, but even though it was ending, just going, like, I want to still know about this stuff. What figure should I get next? What one has things that will be really cool to have? And it's like I don't necessarily go for the nostalgia every time. I look at certain things like I really wanted Vicor. I really wanted Demo Man. I didn't own him as a kid, but the fact that is a piece of art that Mark Taylor worked on, and now it's become figure form, made me go, that's important to me, because he's the guy that had it in his head of what these characters are about. And I still to this day wish he could have had like a comic book, like we're seeing now, all these comics coming out. I'd rather have seen Mark Taylor just write and draw a comic book of what he thought this was supposed to be, and go, that is my canon now. I don't need anything else. Mark Taylor wrote that. I'm good. Like George Lucas doing Star Wars on his own. Yes, there might be issues, but there is that. But that's the guy that thought of it, though. You know, there is that feeling. But yeah, I mean, it all comes down to what everybody else says. But it's like the way mine went. It was like, it's like, there's toys, and then it shifted into comic books, and then it shifts into other things. But it's like, even as collecting, I was collecting comics, and I would read the comics. I wasn't that guy getting 150,000 comics, and I only read like Bobby was talking about. But there was always this feeling in the back of my mind or in my gut where I was like, there's something missing on my shelf, and I couldn't figure out what it was for the longest time when I was collecting comics. And then I just started all of a sudden, like the things on my shelves. Then it's like some of these I've won. Some of these are, were actually gifted to me by the company so I could review it now and stuff. And I'm like, when the hell did that ever happen? Like, I would have told me in 2016, hey, by the way, you're going to get a Battle Cat from Mondo.
That's crazy.
I just look at myself and go, the fuck? By the way, you're going to get to meet the Four Horsemen. You're going to get to go to their studio and see what they do. I would have probably just been like, okay, you're the devil and you need to go away. Because I obviously
what crossroad were you standing at one rating night?
Exactly.
It is like, it's like, I don't know, like my wife can tell it brings me joy, and she doesn't quite understand. She sees the artistry and she appreciates that, and that's what matters to me at this point. But there is this this primalness of the thing that you love, plus the fact of it bringing you together with people that love it. And it's that whole thing of like when you meet somebody and you can talk He-Man, there's this like bond you automatically have, because that's like the Grateful Dead of toys versus everybody knows Transformers, everybody knows G.I. Joe or what. But if you have He-Man as part of your backbone of what makes you who you are, there is that like, all right, like we can talk shop.
Mhm.
This is good stuff.
Mhm.
So,
He-Man's
So
the cock of
true.
all the toys. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. I think I really like that you mentioned when the Mike Young Productions the toys based on the Mike Young Productions cartoon hit the shelves, and how when you first saw classics show up on the magazine cover and online, and I remember both of those feelings being huge for me, just like you explained. Like I it was just it was wonderful to see this this stuff on the shelf again. And it makes sense. Like I that's why Origins made me happy when it first started coming out too, and that's why Masterverse made me happy. And though we may not want to hold on to them for the rest of our lives, that it sure was worth it just for that initial joy of seeing these things on the shelves or online for you to be able to order them. And we live in a particularly interesting era now where like everybody and their everybody and their friends and their cousins and their grandparents are posting about this stuff online, so you get to see everything. And let us not forget that that's the baseline joy is just us being able to see this again.
Right.
Right. That I'm terrified that we're so saturated that we're going to forget what it's like to walk down an aisle of Toys R Us and see the Mike Young Productions of the 2000X. Like for me, seeing that merman on the shelf for the very first time and thinking, thank God, just like, wow, thank you, toy gods, for giving this to me. And we can't lose that, people. Like, I feel that's where we're on the verge of losing.
I think we are already there.
Yeah.
I think there's just so much out there now. It's just all white noise now. I'm not just talking Mattel either. I'm talking about all toy lines.
Oh yeah,
It's just too much.
It's saturated. I remember going to Toys R Us. I didn't see 2000X, but I was just before that. I saw this huge shelf of all those commemorative figures.
Yeah.
My jaw dropped to the floor, and I went home with a 5-pack. I had not collected any figures as an adult before that, but I could not leave the store without something from there. And that's never been replicated by anything else I've seen in stores.
Yeah, I know when I worked at Toys R Us in '93, I think it was '93, '94, and those Star Wars Bendy figures came out. I don't know if you remember any of those.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was like the first time I've seen Star Wars on the shelf since probably I was a kid, right? And I remember like, oh my God, I had to buy these. So I had to wait till the stores closed and so we could purchase stuff afterwards. And I remember the girl saying, these ain't going to be worth anything. I'm like, well, I'm not buying them because they're worth something. I'm buying them because I haven't bought a Star Wars thing since I was a kid, I think that's working at Toys R Us is what got me started back into toys again in '93, '92.
Yeah.
Right?
What a cool time.
Yeah. Because I know I was using that what was it called? Toy Shop magazine. It's like a big newspaper. And they would have sellers in there, and you can see whatever they're selling. And I bought from Brian's Toys back then and stuff before, now they're big, but they're a small little seller of Star Wars stuff and things like that. So that was when I started doing all that shit, was back then.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time. That's why I retired. I can't do it no more.
Well,
Go ahead, John.
I was just gonna say, it's funny to me. So when I work, and I talked to my wife about this, when I work, my brain, like I'm focusing on what I'm doing, but my brain sometimes will play out things I did years ago. And it's almost either a what if scenario or it's more of like a comfort thing where if I'm stressed or something, my brain will make me think about, hey, remember when you went to Toys R Us that time and you saw He-Man Skeletor again or something like that.
Yeah.
And there's always that part of me where I'm like, one of the dumbest things I ever did in my young adulthood was I didn't invest time in me. I invested time in either worrying about getting to work,
I know
paying the
the feeling.
bills,
I know that.
or I was so hung up about that breakup that I was constantly focused on trying to find someone else, you know, and
Mhm.
be and
Yep.
not be alone. And you know, it's like now that I'm a dad, I'm never alone. I'm
Yeah.
never ever alone anymore, no matter what. And that's not a bad thing. I'm never ever going to say it's a bad thing, but there is this feeling sometimes where I'm just, it's like it's itching me in my soul going, you didn't spend enough time on you yet. You didn't spend enough time on the things that made you happy back then. And I go back and I think of that, and it's like, man, if I would have actually just enjoyed something like that for a while and let
Yeah.
myself sink into it the way I did when I was in my 30s and my 40s now, because now I really needed something else other than the adultness of life and
Yes.
being a dad and being a husband and you know, worrying about my deadlines, paying my bills, paying my mortgage. Just like, instead of all that, having an outlet that actually, would it have cost some stuff? Yeah, it would have cost me whatever, like $10 a figure back in those days, whatever it was. I don't remember what they cost exactly, but you know, it's like still getting all of the figures and just going, I got the whole first run of Masters 2000X toys or whatever, and just having that to be like, that's something I have that just makes me smile. And sometimes that's all you need, is something
Right.
that makes you smile, or something that makes you feel like you're not as weary, or you have a second wind again or whatever. And you know, like for me, that was the only way I could get that back in those days. And I miss that because it was simpler, even though I was going through a lot of craziness. And now I look at it now and I'm like, my God, if I could just walk in that Toys R Us right then, that day again, I would probably just start crying, going, I need this so bad. Like the toy therapy of being in a Toys R Us again, for starters. And then to see all that on the aisle shelves again and the pegs again, my God.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it for me, like I'm not smart. My wife can attest to this, because what you were saying about me focusing on the Mondos, like, I'm glad you think I'm smart. I'm not. Um, my afterpays prove this, but for me, like I know Bobby's gotten to the point, you know, he's vintage and he's retired. He's happy with what he has. I'm kind of like, there's things I look forward to, but those are few and far between nowadays for
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
reason. Partially because finance wise, my wife and I have plans we're trying to get accomplished for our family. But the other part too for me is like you were saying, you get the stuff, and like even a month later, why did I buy this?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's like the
Exactly.
worst feeling. That's like the most dull and empty
Yes.
feeling, when you look at something and you were like, well, that was $20 I'm never getting back, or I have to sell it to get that back or whatever. And
A portion of that back. Yeah.
exactly. And I don't know, I'm at this point where it's like, I want to be able to have versions of the things that I love in a way that is what I feel represents them the best,
Yes.
without
Exactly.
going so far into crazy world that I never come home again. So like, I'm not going to go
It's
Tweeterhead. I'm not going to get the stacks
yeah.
of Iron
Exactly.
Studios or any of that. But you know, like I was very fortunate with Mondo that I could afford what I've gotten so far. But I can't go too far
Yeah.
further into that until my afterpays are done. And same with classics and stuff. But I mean, I know there's a lot of people that love Origins. I know there's a lot of people that love Masterverse. But every time I look at those, I go, I can't feel passion for those the way that I do for classics or for Mondo. Or I mean, hell, I'd even love to get, I had to sell my 2000X. I'd love to get them back again, because at least it's a different take on something I love that I still feel works.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I always loved them
Absolutely
because
right.
they looked like the cartoon. So I'm a big cartoon person. So I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, these are great because they look just like it. So it made
Mhm.
sense for me to get those, when they
Yep.
came out.
Mhm.
But like what Sean was
Yep.
saying, and that's what I was trying to point at. It was, you take it from a person who didn't do it. Take time and look at yourself and make yourself happy as well. It's easy to always worry about everybody else and if they're happy, but you have to think of yourself or you'll just lose it. So
Oh yeah.
it's very important. I've learned that recently, and I'm happier that the way I'm at right now compared to a few years ago, because I did go through a what do you want to call it, midlife crisis, so to speak, and it was rough. I'll tell you, I hit rock bottom mentally, and it was I crawled out of that, and now I'm good.
It's real.
It is real. A lot of people say it's not. They say it's just
it's real.
Medically, they say it's not real. It's real. I went through it.
But existential crises happen to the best of us.
Yeah.
When you least expect it too.
Yeah. Yeah. Always worrying about taking care of everybody, making sure everybody's doing good. I'm talking not just like, wives and kids. I'm talking mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters. Everybody's doing, you're always worried that you want them to be happy, and you always forget yourself because you feel like you need to do that. You really need to look at yourself, and you have to think of it as you're the roots of the tree, and if you're not good, the rest of your family is just gonna fall apart. So you gotta make sure that you're good.
It's like the airplane. When the masks drop down, you got to put it on you first before you can help someone else out. And
it's true.
Like depending how much you have on your plate, doing that one step to help you at least get that second when you get more to give others that way at least.
Right.
So yeah, completely agree.
I like what Speaking Moistly says here. When I served, I was told to look after myself because you're no good to anybody if you do not look after yourself.
That's right.
And I'm thankful that there are people out there, whether it's other folks in an organization that you're a part of, or friends or team members that might take you aside and say something like this to you. To remind you to look inward and pay attention to yourself. So
and it's not selfish.
Yeah, that's exactly. And that it's not selfish. That's one of the hardest things for us to do. I talk to students about this all the time. Right before they're about to sit down and write a cover letter to a university application or write about their academic accomplishments, one of the first things I say to them, you're about to do one of the most difficult things you're ever going to write. You're about to write something that's extraordinarily difficult, because we have a tendency to either accidentally overplay, I was great in the high school play or whatever, right? Overstate it as if it's biased, or what happens most common is I'm all right.
Yeah.
I'm just okay. That's the most frequent mistake we make in writing stuff like that. And so it's important to remind folks around you. This is our end of the episode, end of the Filmation episode, not the end of tonight's episode, end of the Filmation episode message. Look out for your neighbors.
I'm just gonna be right back. I'll be right back.
Okay.
When Adam gets back, we're gonna do the Battle Ram report.
Yeah, almost forgot about that. Yeah.
Excited to do that. Well, I guess we can take this. I know it's been good, man.
Yeah.
I guess I'll take this moment just to remind folks that if you're going to submit to the Eternia Land map contest, you can go ahead and email your submissions by February 22nd to my email address. It's listed right here. SkellaVadeOr@gmail.com.
Why did you do that with the dots like that?
Why did I?
Yeah.
Because believe it or not, somebody already had a Skellavator and a skella.vad.er
email.
I mean, that's
difficult
beyond me. So I played around with it for forever. It felt like forever. One evening, just trying to figure out the right email address. but I've had it for quite a while now. So send your submissions there. We promise that we'll share them live. I'll make a little slideshow and share all the submissions, and we'll confer before the 29th and figure out who the winner is.
Yep.
So yeah, there he is.
Here I is.
Are we ready to do the Battle Ram report, Adam?
Let's do it if Bobby's voice is ready.
All right, let me see if I can figure out the song. Here we go. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. Here we go.
Hello and welcome to another Battle Ram report brought to you by Adam, who has the best Motu site online, battleramblog.com. Ready for some information to smack you in the face? I am. Here you go. Take it away, Adam.
Awesome.
That's awesome. That was good.
That was great. Thanks, Bobby.
Yeah, that
All right.
last week did it.
No offense, you're so much
boy.
I
right
know.
I
know.
know. Boom! Look at that.
I know.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. Today's Battle Ram report is we're going to be covering a small, floating, blue-skinned little elf-type creature called Orko or Gorpo, depending on who you're asking. So Orko, from my information, according to Raubi Gorin, one of the people who worked at Filmation, Orko it's created by Robbie London. So he's basically the beginnings of him really start with the Masters of the Universe Bible from December 1982, written by Michael Halperin. It was really intended to be kind of the canon of the story for both the toys and for the cartoon. Some of it was made use of in later stories. Some of it was dropped, but so basically he starts out as a tiny mystical alien named Gorpo, and he's basically from the start, he's magical. He's kind of a jester. His magic doesn't always work, so he's kind of nailed from the beginning, just in terms of they had who he was. That didn't really change. But you can see in the images I've got here, this is from the first UK annual for Masters of the Universe. You can see what was probably his early concept art appearance. We don't have the earliest concept art for him, but this particular book, it draws from those early sources. So it looks like he probably had a blue costume. He's got kind of pinkish or Caucasian skin. But his general shape is there. He's got the pointy hat. His face is in shadow. So you kind of get a look at what he's going to look like there, and from there it's mostly changes to color. But if we go to the next images,
I just got to say I love this Skeletor.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh yeah, he's super creepy. and that was a concept for Prince Adam too, with the blue tunic. But you do see kind of some evolutions to his design. There's the series guide there on the left. It kind of goes over, again, he's still called Gorpo at this point. This is some of the development material for the show. He's not quite final. He's just in terms of the look of his scarf is the same as his outfit, and he doesn't have the O, but he's already much more familiar. And then you can kind of see on the model sheet on the right, that was sort of the final look animation wise that they gave Orko. On the toy end of things, I think the next image is it's just another model sheet from information. He's if anybody who's watched he's one of the most highly animated characters on the show, because his robe is always flowing in and out. He's always
Mhm.
making kind of wacky gestures and expressions.
I'm a huge fan of Orko. I've always loved this character, and it's funny because you know he I he's made specifically for the cartoon, and my heart is really in the early mini comics versions of Masters, but
Mhm.
Orko just makes me so happy.
Yeah,
Oops.
I wasn't like when I was a kid. I wasn't super into, especially wasn't into Prince Adam, but I wasn't super into Orko. I like him now. I like when I watch the old Filmation cartoons. He's he's the child of the series, but
Yep.
he's really he's kind of brave and heroic. He's a lot of times he's the hero of the story.
Hmm.
He just he just makes a lot of mistakes.
And characters like that can ruin a show, but he doesn't ruin it.
He
No,
does
he's not
not ruin it.
annoying like
Yeah.
some of like the what was the Thundercats equivalent
Snarf,
of him.
yeah.
Snarf.
Yeah,
He's not like
totally.
that.
Now, Allison is saying Lou Scheimer liked him, but also Lou Scheimer voiced him.
That's right.
Yeah, voiced him in dozens of other characters in the show
Yep.
too.
Yeah.
So
Should I go to the
so
next
the
one?
next let's go to the next one. So you can see we have kind of some early prototypes. The one on the left is really crude. It looks like it's
Yeah.
made of some felt and clay just kind of slapped together. I think it's probably just an early sort of proof of concept.
He almost looks like a suction cup with arms.
Yeah. I wonder if they just had
say,
a cone laying around.
Yeah.
I want this version of him so bad.
It's almost like a holiday ornament or something.
You totally like on the top of a tree. Yep.
Yeah. The one on the right is it's a modified version. It's still not final. I mean, you can see he's got kind of pinkish skin.
Mhm.
Some of the details on the hand and the robe are not quite how the actual toy would end up. Let's see, what was the next image that I gave you? Oh, yeah. So this is basically usually the cross sell art for maybe 70% of the figures is pretty much how the final toy was, and that's pretty much the true for Orko. So I just show some pictures of the figure. If you kind of flip through some of these.
And I just want to say real quick, I
Yeah.
know I mentioned this on Weekly Weirdo when I did Orko on Weekly Weirdo, that when I was young and got this figure, the removable hat was, in my mind, one of the coolest action features ever. Even though it revealed absolutely nothing, it was almost as cool as Trapjaw's jaw being articulated. It was such an awesome thing to be able to do. Oh, look, I can take his hat off.
Yeah. I had the toy too, and that's exactly what I did too. It's like, you never see under the hat, and like you said, you don't really see anything, but you can take it off.
And amazingly, I did a poll on Twitter a long time ago about the different versions of Orko, like the figures, and everybody pretty much hates this one for some reason.
What?
Yeah, I don't understand why.
I love this one.
Yeah, it's not like the most accurate representation. It's like it's a little too big, and the shape is a little off. But I like. I mean, he's a fun figure.
Yeah.
The action feature is great. It's kind of spinning around. I don't know about you guys. I never figured out the coin trick when I got it.
No, me neither. No.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. I have it, but I don't do anything with it.
Yeah. So the rest of the pictures there's just kind of pictures of the figure, the packaging. It was
beautiful
card art by Errol McCarthy.
Yeah.
I have a shot of the stickers that went on the little plastic coins for the coin trick, which are basic. Just you can see they're just based on the cross-sell art.
They're cool though
for those figures. Yeah,
beautiful.
they're great. If you went to PowerCon this year, they had little buttons that were
Yeah, I
based
remember
on
that.
these.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah,
heard
showing
about
those
that.
off. Yeah.
The only other kind of little fun factoid is he's the only one that has this copyright Filmation on
Yeah.
him because he was
Oh, yeah.
created by Filmation and not Mattel. Sorceress doesn't have it, even though Sorceress's look was created by Filmation, the character was not. So I
Right.
think that's why she
Mhm.
doesn't have that.
That's
So yeah,
cool.
that's a little lighter than last week for sure, but some fun facts about Orko.
That's cool.
Yeah, folks, last week was pretty epic. We
Mhm.
dig deep looking at the classics Castle Grayskull. If you want to watch that, go check out last week's episode. But I love Orko, so tonight was fantastic. Adam,
it's
thank
great.
you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I've watched probably like the last couple of weeks. I've watched like a good 10 episodes of Filmation. So Orko's been on the brain. So that's why.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
I get
It's
to
good.
be that jerk that says I don't like him, huh? Out of the 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, you're not, it's
To
your
this
opinion.
day,
It matters.
no, I know. But to this day, like the first day I sat down to watch that show, and all of a sudden he showed up, I'm like, what is going on with this? Where was he in the mini comics? Where was he in the Golden Books? And from that point on, I'm like, this is definitely its own thing in my head versus what I originally was loving about it. I still like the cartoon for my own reasons. Unlike Allison, she mentioned she wasn't a fan of him until Revelation, and
Wow.
I didn't mind him. I'm not going to say I hated him. I just was very much like he is what made it start that this is not the mini comic masters and all that. But there were some episodes I was cool with him. But yeah, the way they did him in Revelation, I was like, okay, you finally won me over.
Really?
Like when he said that whole Tila, can we go on one last adventure? I was like, holy shit, I'm actually
I'm
up
crying.
listening to this
Yeah.
guy. Like I was and him doing the fighting Scareglow and he's like, trying to save everybody. I'm like, I'm actually getting like goosebumps remembering that and going like, that worked on so many levels because it's a character who was so innocent going up against something so frightening. And it's like it is that whole thing in House of Shakoti with Stanlin, not afraid, and he uses the power sword. And I love that when I was a kid, and that's what they did with Revelation Orko for me. So I give him props, but he's still not a character that I'm like, yay! I'm always like, okay, it's Orko.
Well, I think the Revelation Orko, we can thank Griffin Newman and
absolutely
the good writing of his character.
Except for his family didn't like him, and he named the Oracle. That still bugs me. I don't.
Does that bug you?
Yeah, I don't like that one bit.
I don't mind that just because, like,
because if you think of the Filmation where he's created, I know this could be like a different universe and all that bullshit, but
yeah,
its own thing. But he was real powerful on Trala, and everybody thought he was great, and then he turns around in Revelation, says no one likes him, and his name, and it just didn't make sense to me. I didn't like that.
Yeah. I agree that's disconcerting because of what we saw in Filmation cartoon for sure. But Griffin Newman, Griffin, that's valid. An actor that can turn a character or give life to a character that we might otherwise not have been a fan of, like for Sean serving as a great example here.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's
with real people
achievement.
that can know how to do real voiceovers.
Yeah.
Sorry, dig.
Ouch. Well, hey Griffin, if you're watching this, I hope you have my Orko painting hanging up.
He might watch it because he follows me on Twitter and
I gave him a painting of Orko. I used to do these Motu Misfit paintings, and I did one of Orko, and he was wearing Converse All Stars, Chuck Taylor's, and
I used to wear those all the time as a kid.
Yeah, I still love those. So I met Griffin Newman at PowerCon and gave that to him.
Cool.
I was proud to give that to him because he did a real good job in.
No, he did an excellent job.
in
Yeah,
Revelation.
like what Sean pointed out, I really liked that part of Orko when battling
for sure.
Scareglow, and then when he was sick and all that stuff. That was really cool.
Oh yeah.
But I just don't like when he was talking with Evelyn. I just don't like that whole scene.
Well, and that again is, my thing with it is it could have been its own show and just that's it, instead of them having to hang their coat on, it's like the next episode of Filmation. And
well, that's it was
the thing,
not right?
That was not a great way to handle it. I know people weren't happy with it even then, and I look at it and I'm like, you could have just started from scratch and just done this and used it like 2000X and do it where it's its own thing, and there's still elements that we know, but there's still stuff that we had to learn or whatever.
Right. It's storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
So next week, I'm just going to take a moment and just remind folks. Next week, at this time next week, I am not going to be on Toy Frenzy, and I think we've all agreed to not do Toy Frenzy. I personally am going to need to be concentrating on Revolution, watching it, enjoying it if I can. Hoping I enjoy it. I'm still on edge with this, but I'm real excited to have our follow-up conversation, and we're kind of working on a special guest for our follow-up conversation on Revolution. I don't want to say anything because we're still trying to get that confirmed, but it's also going to be on a different day and time to work with this guest's schedule. So further information is forthcoming on that, but we will not be doing Toy Frenzy on next Thursday evening. But we're going to have a lot of discussion afterwards. So
when does that cartoon come out?
Next Thursday.
Thursday
it's
night.
Thursday. I won't be able to watch it because I don't have Netflix. So
I said next Thursday night, but it's just next Thursday. I won't get around to it until the evening time, but we'll tell you all about it, Bobby.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I'll live it through your eyes.
Yeah. Although I did hear, Oz. It all depends on the circumstances, but Oz was gonna try and do a private stream for the patrons, so folks who are patrons can tune in and watch it. So you can tune into that, Bobby.
Yeah. Is that on the Discord thing?
I think so. We toyed with the idea last week, and I think he's, I can't speak for him because he's not here, but I'm fairly certain he's thinking about doing something like that. And if he does, I'm going to pop in too at some point, just to see what the heck's going on with everybody.
Yeah.
But so I guess we're getting close to the end here, guys. Any final thoughts or anything cool forthcoming?
I know you didn't want to mention it, but like I might not be. I don't know. I had a good time tonight, so it's hard to, but I might be stepping away a little bit for like maybe 3 weeks. Not
just when you tried to get out, we pulled you back in.
But like I said though, it's not a permanent thing. But I might have a change of mind by next time we're back on. So,
hey, I know everybody in the chat knows this already, but just as a little reminder, Toy Frenzy is all about family first, our health first and our happiness first. And if we got to take a break from a episode, like that's just the way it is. We want the best for everybody, the people who are hosting this and also the people who are in the chat. So we understand.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it might be 3 weeks a month, or I might be on next episode. So we'll see.
Yeah,
how it goes.
Well, after tonight was pretty awesome. So
it was good.
We'll see.
But also, I'm going to be working on my new Decker series pretty soon. So that'll be coming out sometime in February. I got to get Skelly's episode done first, and then the next one. But it all flows with itself. So
I'm excited.
On the lookout.
Cool.
So if you end up liking stuff like that, just follow me. If not, it's no big deal.
Just follow
I lose subs every time I post something on Instagram, on YouTube. It's weird. Instead of gaining,
They don't know what they're missing out on,
I know.
Bobby. Don't let that get you down. Because
No, I don't let it get me down. It's just weird, that it's
It is. It
numbers
is
go
weird, but
opposite.
people are weird, right?
Yeah,
People,
yeah,
human
that's
beings
true.
are weird.
Yeah.
We are weird. I mean,
Mhm.
we are perplexing.
Mhm.
It's just Sean, Adam, anything exciting coming up for you guys?
Working on an article about Fright Fighter. So
Oh.
look for that
Oh,
in the near
nice.
future.
Nice.
Fright
cool.
Fighter as it appeared in Dune, or
Yeah. Well, no, obviously Frank Herbert retroactively copied that from He-Man.
Wasn't it written like that in the book? That He-Man toy that will be released later on after this book
Yes,
is published.
exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
And
For
won't
that,
show
show
up in
me what
a-
it looks like.
It will not. He also said, Frank Herbert also said it won't show up in the David Lynch Dune, but it will show up in the Timothy Chalamet, Dennis
Yes.
Yes.
Dune. Yeah.
Right.
That guy
Very
is a
complicated
mystery.
history with that. Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. Let's
Well,
see.
that's cool. That's awesome. That's great, Adam.
I think tomorrow night I'm doing Off World with Curtis. It's an off week, so and I think if I remember right, our plan is to talk about like our top five and bottom five characters in GI Joe, because we don't really talk about that. And now Curtis is deep diving down the rabbit hole with Classified, and I'm trying to still stay away from it because I don't need to do more right now. But we're going to at least have a conversation about that. And beyond that, that's about it for the time being, other than my craziness with my own job. So there's that.
Yeah. Well, I understand that. But it'll be interesting. I'll tune in for that. It'll be interesting to see what Curtis thinks about the G.I. Joe stuff and see what you think, Sean. For me, I'm just waiting for the Dreadnoks to show up on clearance at Ross. That's all I got to say.
If you see those and they're going clearance, let me
I'll
know.
I'll get multiples. Don't worry, Bobby. I got you. If I see the Dreadnoks at a $5.99 price point, I'm gonna. How can I not buy like four of them?
You'd have
right?
to, yeah.
Yeah, it's just that's the thing. That's the thing. Toy companies. $26 is a lot of money.
It is.
Anyways.
Well, that's what I was worried about when I saw those Dungeons and Dragons, and I thought this right away. But now I see a lot of other people are saying the same thing. Is this going to be like the new thing that we're just going to have to say, well, this is how it is? We're just going to have to pay this price from now on. It gets old.
I think so. I honestly think so.
It's tiring.
It is. It's tiring. I mean, it's exhausting to look at our energy bill and see how PG&E is raising the energy. It's
just
like
because they can. Yeah.
Just because they can, and like these toy companies are doing the same thing. I mean, I'm not going to pay $25.99 for a mousetrap. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, that figure's stupid looking anyway. But that's my opinion.
It's a shame. It's a shame. It's Trapjaw, and Trapjaw's great. And I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at my Masterverse Trapjaw, and he's pretty handsome over there. Lucky
I have him saved on my wish list or on Amazon. I just keep looking. It's still the same price, but I would like to see it in the store. If I see it in the store, I'll probably grab one. But
it was Cobweb. His review convinced me that the Masterverse Trapjaw was going to be worth it. And then, I can blame Cobb for this as well. Like his cartoon series reviews have convinced me that some of these Filmation villains I'm going to have to get. I'm not going to be buying Beastman, which is unfortunate because I freaking love Beastman. And he's
he doesn't look that good.
That figure does not look that great, but the Trapjaw is on point. Like he looks fantastic.
Yeah, I'd probably like to get that one.
And if Merman looks anything like the cross-cell art, he's gonna be a nice addition to the Filmation Merman that I got back here from Super 7, because he's gonna look different. He's gonna look like, when we see Merman go like that, that's what he's looking like, and that's what I'm excited about, having that Merman.
Yeah, I like the designs from Filmation. I just love them.
Yeah, me too. I gotta say a little something here. So for those of you that pay real close attention to my nonsense, I was gonna have an art show in February. That's gonna be in October now.
Oh wow!
So if you were that far, I moved it that. It wasn't just me. Well, partially was, but I talked to the gallery. We decided to move it to October 2024, which is good. It'll be warmer, and I'll be able to add a few extra things in the art show that I was thinking about doing. So if you're planning, Frenzies, if you're planning a road trip to Porterville, October is when it's going to happen.
Maybe I'll come out there.
You should. It's not that far of a drive.
No, you're only a 5.5 hour ride, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it'd be the same thing as I guess it's the same distance from where you are now as it would have been where you were in Arizona. I guess same.
No, it'd be longer. It takes 4 hours. About 4 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, Arizona's about like almost 10 hours or something. Like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you should. So there's that. It's in October. More information on that soon.
Yeah, let's make that a plan.
That's a great.
I'll come out there and support your art.
That would be awesome. It's a great thing because it's a little community college in a little town.
Cool.
And they've got a really cool gallery there, and so I'm excited.
I could spread out in one of your rooms, all right?
I'm sure.
Or sleep on the couch or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Snake Mountain.
Snake Mountain, yeah. Oh, and then I'm working on Snake Mountain. So the Snake Mountain's I'm in the process of working on that. We're going to be doing that for a couple of months, folks. So be prepared for a video about. I'm going to aim for once a week, but if it's once every 2 weeks, that's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
But I've been doing it. I've been keeping up, and I've been doing a lot more talking in these videos. And I hope you're all appreciating that, because I knew I had to do something a little bit different with this series, because otherwise it would just be another of the same thing. So I hope you're all enjoying that.
Yeah, it's great.
And also, if you're not enjoying it,